Victoria Boydell, editor of Saltburn. This is such a wild, twisted tale. What were your first thoughts after you read the script by Emerald Fennell?
Oh my God. I mean, I read this, I heard that Emerald had written her second film. I was desperate. I was absolutely desperate to get a hold of that script. And yeah, I mean, obviously it didn't disappoint. It's such a great ride. It's I mean, it's tonally, it weaves such an interesting path tonally. The film kind of starts out as one kind of film, you know, Oliver starts as one kind of character. You're led through his kind of innocent narration, talking about Felix, and then through Oxford, through Saltburn, these grotesquely funny characters. And then, well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a few twists and turns on the way. Yeah, I mean, I've never wanted to cut a film so much in my whole career, and I'm really old. I've been working a long time. I was really keen.
That's high praise.
And I didn't think I stood a chance. Honestly, I thought she could have her pick of anyone in this country, and I've no idea. I've no idea.
She chose you.
We clicked when we met on Zoom, but I've no idea how or why. I'm still kind of pinching myself. I feel really lucky.
She knew what she was doing because I love. Well, I guess let's first start with the montage, the opening montage of the film, because there's a mystery aspect to this movie, and it opens with these images that we're going to see later in the film, and like you said, a voiceover from Oliver talking about his love for Felix, and it's such a beguiling little tease. So can you talk about assembling that and what to show and what not to show?
So it was always in the script that we would show sort of snippets, and some of them were written, the particular beats. They were written in several ways. I mean, they were shot in they were written to be there and later, and shot in 2 or 3 different ways to reappear in the middle of the film and then later. So they appear at the very beginning, that narration, then where they happen, and then later in the Elspeth's bed. But actually our first version, I mean, probably our first version visually was maybe a little bit too much leaning onto sort of trailer, and slightly randomized and less poetic heart, and maybe less memory, and more wham bam. But actually the key tiny thing we changed, which was 25 frames or something, is that the original assembly of that opening section before you cut to Oxford and Zadok the priest, like the kicker in Zadok, he answers his own question. So he says, "Did I love him?" And then he answered it. And the second assistant editor, interestingly, she came on board a few weeks after the shoot, and I sat her in a room and said, "Watch the film." And she came out and she said, you gave too much away by answering the question. So I thought it would be quite fun that he takes an inhale of breath and goes and doesn't answer. And that seemed to create the mystery.
Yeah, well, because it's also like his obsession with Felix, it's also about like the thin line between love and hate. And then you kind of see it change like throughout the film, and then there are certain points later on where like, is this the hate manifesting? And there's like certain sequences at the end too. So was this something you and Emerald also talked about?
Yes, so we spent months going backwards and forwards with lots of sections, but particularly with that area, because what's fun is, I mean, it's such a fine line of calibration. We wanted to show the lie visually, is kind of where we landed, so that you hear him later say, "I hated him," while you see him sink to his knees sobbing by a grave. And we felt, yeah, I mean, we tried quite a few things, but what kind of really punched us in the solar plexus was the sense that the more he sort of railed against something verbally, the more you could witness the absolute opposite, and the more hopefully people understand what both Emerald and I feel very strongly personally, is it's possible to almost love someone to the point of annihilation, where it does become obsessive, but it also, there's something skin-crawlingly, viscerally hateful as well. But maybe I'm revealing too much about myself.
Well, that's also another aspect of the film, that it creates some like discomfort and like some like cringe moments, and some that is also through the edit, because we linger on scenes perhaps a little bit longer than some people might want or expect.
Yeah.
There's several scenes like towards the end, like the grave scene in particular too, but I think it's also very effective, because by the end, when it's over, it's like it's very tragic and almost kind of sad. And I mean, it is sad, but it's like, you know, you feel pity too a little bit. So
yeah,
what did you guys
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there was, obviously it won't surprise you to know there was a lot of pressure on us with shortening the grave scene, probably originally trying it without, but I don't think we listened to that one. But we did genuinely in earnest look at trimming it in various different ways, and screened it various different lengths. But hand on heart, if you, without spoiling anything, if you come out too soon, it says something much more brutal and vulgar and less emotional. And there's something about watching a man unable to complete and sobbing and breaking down, and the impotence and desperation that we found it quite sad and romantic. I know it's not for everyone, but maybe that goes back to the first comment about I have no idea why Emerald chose me, but maybe because we're both twisted. And I mean, there was no question in our room. There was never, ever a disagreement or a debate. We were absolutely unified in our taste and sense of loss, romance, sex, things that other people find disgusting, we found sexy. But you know,
yeah, I'm glad you got for it.
That's why Emerald is unique, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this film is also a great to watch a second time, third time, multiple times, because when on rewatch, scenes take on a whole new meaning. So how does that affect your approach as an editor? When do you feel like you can't give too much away, or are there enough clues here that people can catch it when they watch it again?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously, like many films, we tested it both with friends and family and with kind of formal 400 strangers in LA kind of screening. And honestly, there are some people who, actually someone came up to me a couple of days ago and said, you explained too much at the end. And other people have come up to me going, oh my God, my jaw fell on the floor at that reveal. And you can't please everyone. We worked quite hard. We had versions in that explained too much. We pulled back, pulled out a lot of the voice at the end and a lot of the images. And then some people felt they were left a little wanting. And I guess Emerald and I cut the version we wanted, and hope that, you know, some people, I mean, we've deliberately left some things in that hopefully people will spot second or third time round. I'm not going to ask you about one in case it spoils, but there's a couple of things in there that I have no idea. I occasionally ask people, did you spot it? And people say, oh, I'm going to go and watch the film again. But we've left a few gems in for second and third viewings. But some of it, I think, is down to an individual audience. But that's okay. I mean, we're all, at the end of the day, we're all individual viewers with our own baggage and our own history and our own sensibilities. So.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, can't please everyone. So yeah. Well, Victoria, it was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you back in a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.